All right, today we're going to dig into something called precision agriculture. It's this really revolutionary way of farming that's trying to tackle, well, one of the biggest challenges humanity has ever faced.
So, let's get right into it. The core problem? It's pretty simple, really. Our population is exploding, but the amount of land we have to grow food on, well, that's not growing at all. So we can't just keep farming harder, we've got to start farming smarter. But, what does that even mean? What does smarter actually look like on a farm?
Well, it looks a lot like this. The whole solution kicks off when you stop seeing a farm as just one big green rectangle and start seeing it for what it really is, a super complex system. It's like a living, breathing grid of data points. I mean, this image here just nails that new perspective. All of a sudden, every single square meter has its own story to tell about the soil, the water, the plant's health, and it's all just waiting for someone to read it.
Okay, so to really get why this data-driven thing is such a big deal, we have to talk about how we used to do things. And look, for a long, long time, the old way worked just fine. But now, with so many more mouths to feed and a lot fewer resources to go around, yeah, it's becoming pretty clear that the old way just isn't cutting it anymore.
Forever, really. Farming has been based on this one simple idea. Treat the whole field exactly the same. Same amount of water everywhere, same fertilizers, same pesticides. It's kind of like taking a giant paint roller to an entire wall when really only a few little spots need a touch-up. You can imagine, right? It's super wasteful, it's expensive, and honestly, it's not doing the environment any favors.
So, if the old way is the giant paint roller, what's the new way? What's the alternative? Well, this is exactly where precision agriculture steps in. It basically flips that whole model right on its head. And you gotta understand, this isn't just about a few new gadgets. It's a completely new way of thinking.
When you boil it all down, precision agriculture is really a management strategy. It uses tech to grab a ton of data, analyze it, and then help farmers make way smarter, super targeted decisions. The goal? It's so simple. Give the crops exactly what they need, exactly where they need it, and exactly when they need it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We're talking about a shift away from that one-size-fits-all idea towards something totally customized and site-specific. The big thing to remember is that any given field isn't one uniform thing. It's actually a mosaic, a patchwork of different little zones, and each one has its own specific needs that you can manage one by one.
Okay, so managing a field like a mosaic. That sounds awesome in theory, right? But how does it actually work? Like in the real world, out in the dirt? Well, it all comes down to the tech.
It's all about this continuous loop, this cycle. Step 1, you collect a ton of data from the field. Step 2, you analyze all that data, looking for patterns and figuring out what's needed. Step 3, you use those insights to make smart decisions. And finally, step 4, you use technology to put things like water or fertilizer down with absolute pinpoint accuracy. And then, the whole thing just starts right back up again.
So that first step, data collection, relies on this pretty incredible toolkit. We're talking about combining eyes way up in the sky with smart little sensors buried right there in the soil.
You've got satellites and drones, or UAVs if you want to get technical, giving farmers this amazing bird's-eye view of their crops. And they're not just taking pretty pictures. They capture these super high-res images that can spot problems like nutrient deficiencies or water stress way before a person walking the field could ever see them. It's literally like giving the farmer agricultural superpowers.
So let's break down how all these pieces fit together, because this is cool. You have GPS, which creates these incredibly precise maps and helps guide the machinery. Then you have IoT sensors, Internet of Things, stuck right in the dirt, sending back real-time data on moisture and nutrients. But the real magic? That's something called variable rate technology, or VRT. This is the tech that tells a tractor to automatically change how much seed or fertilizer it's putting down, literally meter by meter, as it drives across that digital map. It's amazing.
Okay, so we have all this incredible data, all this amazing tech. But, so what? What does it all actually add up to? Let's talk about the payoff. Because when you start harvesting these benefits, they are absolutely huge. We're talking benefits for the farmer's wallet and for the health of the entire planet.
First up, let's talk money. It's simple, really. By using resources way more efficiently, putting them only where they're actually needed, farmers cut way down on waste, and that means they're spending less on things like fertilizer and fuel, which goes straight to their bottom line.
And it's not just about saving cash. That same efficiency means you get more crops, you get higher yields. Now, it changes depending on the crop and where you are in the world, but study after study shows that farmers using this tech see, on average, a 4% bump in production. And I know 4%, it might not sound like a ton, but stop and think about that on a global scale. That is a massive amount of food. We're talking millions of tons, all grown without using a single extra acre of land. That's a total game changer.
All right, so it's good for the farmer's pocket, but beyond the profit, the environmental wins here are just profound. This smarter way to farm is also a much more sustainable way to farm.
And we're not just talking feel-good stuff here. This is backed by some seriously impressive numbers. On average, you're looking at a 9% cut in pesticide use, 7% less fertilizer being wasted, and a 4% drop in water use. And every single one of those percentage points means less chemical runoff getting into our rivers and a smaller carbon footprint for the food that ends up on our plates.
So the benefits are pretty clear, right? Both for the bank account and for the environment. It kind of sounds like the perfect solution, but, like with any huge change, this new way of farming, it definitely has its challenges.
For one, the upfront cost for all this gear can be really high. And then there's the data itself. We're talking massive amounts of it. And just managing and figuring out what it all means can be totally overwhelming. Plus, a lot of rural areas still don't have good, reliable internet, which is, kind of crucial for all this stuff to work. And on top of all that, there's a pretty steep learning curve. It takes a whole new set of technical skills. So all this leads to a really important question. Is this tech just for the huge, industrial-scale megafarms? I mean, that's a big deal when you realize that small-scale farmers make up something like 90% of all farmers on the planet.
Well, the good news is the answer is more and more becoming yes, they can benefit too. Precision ag is getting way more accessible. Farmers can tap into powerful analytics platforms right from the smartphone in their pocket. They can team up with service companies that handle all the tech and data stuff for them, and even the equipment makers are getting in on it, designing smaller, much more affordable machines built specifically for smaller fields. So, when you put all the pieces together, the big takeaway is this. Precision agriculture isn't some sci-fi fantasy for the distant future. It's here, it's practical, it's powerful, and honestly, it's an absolutely essential part of building a food system that can actually feed all of us while protecting our planet for generations to come.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to chew on. For all of human history, farmers have grown crops. But as we look ahead, you have to wonder, is data actually the most important crop of the 21st century?